Hey guys, this is Dude from Strong's Force, and I wanted to make a video for my team to demonstrate to new members how to attack shock launchers when in a task force. Now, shock launchers are a lot more powerful in task force than they are on your personal maps. First thing to understand is shock launchers will deal 5 times the stated damage per second as soon as that initial hit hits your troops. So for example, if it says it's going to do 40 damage per second, it's actually going to do 200 damage as soon as it hits. The mistake a lot of new players make is they try to attack with hookahs or another combination of troops, and they think the front troop, in this case the heavies, are going to withstand all the damage or the shock, and then the troops behind them will be able to attack. The problem with that strategy is the front troops get shocked and they stop moving, whereas your rear troops keep advancing and they actually walk into the damage. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that right now. What I'm doing right now is I'm just going to flare the shock launcher. And then I'm just going to attack straight ahead with the hookahs and the heavies and the zookas. Okay, now I'm going to try to freeze that right there. You see the heavies get shocked initially. Now, as soon as I start playing the video, you'll see that the zookas are not damaged at this point, and they're going to continue to advance forward. But because the heavies are shocked, they're not going to move, and they're going to bunch up together. So there they go. Zookas are okay. Heavies got shocked for a second, not a big deal. Okay. Now look at that second splash damage from that shock launcher. It looks like more than 80% of my zookas got shocked within that. And if this were a task force operation, probably most of those zookas would have evaporated immediately. Okay, so that's exactly what we don't want you to do. Okay, so in this next video here, we're going to do something a little bit different. And all we're going to do right now is we're going to flare the shock launcher, launch our troops, and before we get into range, we're going to immediately shock the shock launcher. So we start going forward, shocking the shock launcher. Our troops right there are pretty bunched up, but watch what happens by the time we get up there and the shock bomb wears off on the shock launcher. Let me catch this here. Okay, there's the first hit of the shock launcher. And it looks like a couple of my guys might be in the range, but I think they're still actually out of it. I think that the zookas that have damage to them actually got splash damage from the rockets that were fired. But all of the other zookas are actually outside of range, and they're on target, and they're actually hitting the shock launcher. Now in this scenario, even if this were a stronger shock launcher and it took multiple seconds to kill it, the zookas would still be safe. So basically that's what we want you to do. If you're attacking with troops on a shock launcher, we want you to shock the shock launcher before you get into range. Otherwise your troops will bunch up and you're going to have just a world of hurt there. The other recommendation I'm going to make is if you have more than 3 shock launchers, especially if they're touching, it's probably a better idea. I mean, of course, there's going to be exceptions, but it's probably going to be a better idea to try to attack those with barrage and especially artillery. Just remember, if you attack multiple targets with a barrage, if you attack 2 or more targets that are side by side, you lose about 20% of the barrage effectiveness. And if you touch defenses that are touching on the corner, for example, 4 defenses that are combined in a square, and you hit them in the middle with a barrage, it's only going to do about 70% damage to each one of the individual targets. So you are losing effectiveness with the barrage. So that's a recommendation. Basically, 1 or 2 shock launchers, attack it with troops. Just make sure you shock the shock launcher first. Also remember to bear in mind that if you're trying to run straight into something like that, and you have flamethrowers on your side or machine guns, make sure you shock them also. Otherwise, they're just going to be sitting ducks to get wasted while you're trying to take down the shock launcher. Okay, that's our recommendation. I hope it helps.